Have you ever sat in a room full of family and still felt invisible? Maybe they're caught up in their own lives, rushing, texting, planning, and you're just there, smiling, nodding, maybe offering a story or a thought, only to be talked over or brushed aside. It's a quiet kind of pain, isn't it? One that sneaks in slowly, like a shadow at sunset. And you start to wonder, when did I become background noise in my own family? You're not alone. Many people feel this way as they get older. It's not that your family doesn't love you, it's just that life pulls everyone in different directions. Kids grow up, schedules fill up, and suddenly those deep conversations, the laughter at the dinner table, the "how are you really doing?" moments, they become fewer and farther between. But just because you feel left out doesn't mean you're powerless, and it certainly doesn't mean you've lost your worth. Today, we're going to talk about something important: how to find peace and power again when you feel left out by family. Not by forcing change in others, but by nurturing strength within yourself. Because the truth is, you deserve connection, respect, and joy at any age. Let's start with something simple but deeply powerful: recognizing your emotions without shame. It's okay to admit it hurts, to say, "Yes, I feel left out. I feel forgotten." That's not weakness, it's honesty. And that honesty opens the door to healing. Many of us were raised to just get on with it, or not make a fuss, but stuffing those feelings down doesn't make them disappear. It just builds a quiet wall around your heart. The first step to feeling better is giving yourself permission to feel. Sit with those emotions. Journal them. Talk to someone you trust. When you name what you're feeling, you start to reclaim your voice. From there, the next step is even more empowering: creating your own circle of connection. Just because your family is busy or distracted doesn't mean you have to wait for them to make you feel included. You can take the lead. Reach out to a neighbor for a cup of tea. Join a walking group. Sign up for that art class you've always thought about but never dared to try. The world is full of people looking for friendship, for conversation, for the exact kind of wisdom and calm that you bring to the table. And sometimes the relationships we choose, those we build later in life, can be just as fulfilling, even more so than the ones we were born into. By taking these small but powerful steps, naming your feelings and reaching out beyond the familiar, you begin to shift the focus from what's missing to what's possible. You remind yourself that your story isn't over, that there are still people to meet, laughter to share, and moments to feel truly seen. Now, let's keep going. Because once you've begun to reconnect with your own emotions and started forming new bonds, there's even more you can do to restore your sense of peace and purpose. Let's talk about something that often gets overlooked when you're feeling left out: your own sense of identity. When the kids were young or your career was in full swing, you probably wore a dozen hats: caretaker, planner, provider, helper, the one everyone turned to. And now you might wonder who you are outside of those roles. But here's something beautiful. This chapter of life gives you the chance to redefine yourself, not as a version of who you were, but as who you truly want to be. This is your time to explore what lights you up. Maybe you've always had a passion that was put on the shelf for the sake of others. Maybe you've never had the space to stop and ask yourself, "What do I enjoy just for me?" Well, ask it now. Take it seriously. Whether it's learning to paint, writing down stories from your past, trying your hand at gardening, or even starting a small project just for fun, those aren't just hobbies. They're lifelines. They remind you that you're still growing, still creating, still alive in all the ways that matter. And here's something else to remember. Your worth is not determined by how much attention you get from others. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, if they're not calling, if they're not inviting me, maybe I'm not important. But you are not a background character in your own life. You are the main story. And sometimes when others don't see your light, it's simply because they're caught in their own shadows. Don't wait for someone else to validate you. Validate yourself. Every morning, look in the mirror and remind yourself that you are still here. You still matter, and you still have so much to offer. That brings me to something deeply transformative: serving others, not from a place of obligation, but from a place of purpose. When we feel invisible, one of the most powerful ways to reconnect is to help someone else feel seen. That might mean mentoring a younger person, volunteering at a local center, or simply checking in on someone who might be lonely too. Giving doesn't drain you, it fills you. It reminds you of your strength, your compassion, your wisdom. You stop focusing on what you've lost and start building on what you still have to give. So, take a breath with me. Right now, in and out. You're doing something important. You're choosing to heal. Choosing to shift your focus from feeling forgotten to becoming fully present in your own life again. There's power in that. And peace. Let's keep going. And as we keep going, let's talk about boundaries. Those invisible lines that protect your peace. When you feel left out by family, it's tempting to keep trying harder, giving more, hoping that maybe this time they'll notice. But constantly overextending yourself or saying yes when your heart says no can leave you drained, not connected. It's okay to say, I need space from that conversation, or I won't chase people who aren't showing up for me right now. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They're bridges that show others how to love and respect you in a way that feels good for both sides. Think about how often you've put others first. It becomes a habit, especially with family. But when that giving isn't met with kindness or acknowledgement, it's not selfish to step back, it's self-care. You can still love your family deeply and choose to take care of your emotional well-being first. Because peace isn't just something that happens when everyone finally behaves. It's something you choose by deciding what you will and won't accept in your own heart. Now, maybe you're wondering, but what if I don't want to give up on my family? You don't have to. This isn't about giving up. It's about letting go of the hurtful expectations that steal your joy. You can still hold space for your family, still hope for closeness, while also building a life that's full and rich outside of them. You're not cutting ties, you're strengthening your roots. Because the more grounded you feel in your own sense of worth, the easier it is to show up with love even when others fall short. And you know what helps with that? Gratitude. I know that word gets tossed around a lot, but gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about gently shifting your focus from what's lacking to what's already good. Even on the hard days, there's something. A warm cup of tea. A call from an old friend. The way the sun hits the window just right in the morning. When you start to notice those small things, your world opens up again. You begin to feel a quiet joy that doesn't rely on anyone else to appear. It's not about ignoring the pain. It's about not letting the pain define you. Yes, your heart may feel bruised, but it's still beating, still open, and every day you have the choice to nurture it, to treat it gently, to feed it with new connections, meaningful moments, and the kind of peace that comes from knowing your value, no matter who sees it. Let's keep walking this path together. There's still one more important step to take. And now, the final step in finding peace and power again. Forgiveness. Not just for them, for you. Holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy bag you never set down. It slows you, it tires you, and, worst of all, it keeps you stuck in a story that doesn't reflect who you really are. Forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay. It's about saying, I'm not going to let this pain decide how I live anymore. Maybe your family didn't notice how left out you felt. Maybe they didn't listen when you needed them to. But you don't need to carry that forever. You can say, I release this weight, not because they earned it, but because you deserve to feel free again. When you forgive, not just others but yourself for the times you stayed silent or didn't speak your truth, you open space for something new. Peace. And peace is power. Because peace gives you clarity. It helps you see what really matters. It gives you back your days. And once you find that peace, you begin to show up differently. Not bitter, not guarded, but whole. And that's powerful. That's magnetic. You start to glow in ways that people notice. Maybe your family starts to feel that shift too. Maybe they reach out. But even if they don't, you've already reclaimed what's most important: yourself. There's something incredible about realizing you don't have to wait for others to make you feel loved. You can be the one who loves yourself deeply. You can be the one who chooses laughter again, who tries new things, who shares stories, who creates beauty in the everyday. You are not just someone's parent or grandparent. You're not just a name on a holiday card. You're a person with a beating heart, a lifetime of wisdom, and so much left to give. And you're not alone. This community, everyone watching this, understands what you're feeling. And we're here, walking this road beside you. So if this video spoke to you, share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what's helped you through tough times. Or just say hello, because sometimes a small comment is the start of something big. And if you found value here, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're building something warm and real, a place where people over 60 can feel inspired, understood, and uplifted. Remember, your best days aren't behind you. They're still unfolding, one peaceful, powerful step at a time. Keep shining. Keep growing. Here's to living your best life at any age.